Welcome back for another video. After a manic weekend of football, we've got a big double game week to look forward to next. In this one, we're going to look at all the best players to buy for the double game week. Lots of free hit chips active this week. It's a double game week for 7 teams: Arsenal, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Everton, Liverpool, Sheffield United and Wolves. So this week it's all about the assets from these teams. Projection data courtesy of FPL Review. Let's get into it. Starting off with the keepers. Arsenal are going to face Wolves away and then Chelsea home, so Raya's top of the keepers table this week with 7.9 points. Don't let recency bias get the better of you when it comes to the Arsenal defence. Villa played very well on Sunday, beating Arsenal 2-0, which was Arsenal's first loss this calendar year. Arsenal's defence still elite, and they're top for expected goals conceded this season. In my opinion, you need at least one defensive asset from Arsenal. We've seen plenty of times before where a double game week fixture ends up being low scoring because of the busy schedule, leading to lots of clean sheets and not as many attacking returns. However, if you're on a free hit, triple Arsenal midfield could work out nicely as well. We'll talk more on the midfielders later. Alisson was back from injury last match, his first start since Gameweek 23. Another shock result, losing at Anfield 1-0 to Palace. Credit to them though for an excellent performance. Liverpool have got 2 away games in their double to Fulham and Everton, and there's got to be at least one clean sheet in there in my opinion. So if you're tripled up on Arsenal already and you need a keeper, Alisson's the best option. Fulham have been an unpredictable side. After the very impressive 3-0 win over Spurs, they then drew with Sheffield United and lost to Forest, and then they beat West Ham on the weekend. They're actually 4th best for expected goals over the last 6 games played, while Everton are 3rd team, so that's perhaps the likelier fixture for the clean sheet. Looking at some cheaper picks, Henderson's 3rd on the table with 7.1 points. A pretty remarkable away clean sheet at Anfield on the weekend, and they've got a home double game week to West Ham and Newcastle. Overall, Palace's defence has been solid. This season they're 6th best for expected goals conceded, after Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Everton and Chelsea. So perhaps even more surprisingly, Everton are 4th best for expected goals conceded over the season, and Pickford's 4th on the goalkeeper projections, with a little separating him and Henderson. He probably concedes against Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. There could be lots of save points there still, and they do play home to Forest in their first double fixture. So those are the top 4 keepers for double game week 34. If you're in a luxury position with a full team of doublers and nowhere to spend a move, you could swap a doubler around like Neto to Raya. Neto's on 5.8 projected points, and then Raya 7.9. Potential to gain a couple of points and it all counts. Moving on to defenders. Gabriel, Saliba and White, the top 3 this week in that order. The left back situation for Arsenal is a bit murky, so avoid Zinchenko and Kiwior. They could quite easily get a game each. After the Arsenal guys, it's Van Dijk, Robertson and Trent. Tsimikas wasn't even on the bench last match, which could make Robertson an option. However, Gomez has played left back plenty of times as well. The right back situation got a bit more interesting. Bradley was taken off with an injury in the Palace defeat after 48 minutes, which saw the return of Trent. Again, Gomez can play in right back, but if you're looking for a big differential, Trent's a massive one this week, only 8% owned. And a lot of those are going to be dead teams at this stage, so it's probably much lower ownership in active teams. Let us know in the comments if you're considering Trent. The safe pick is Van Dijk, who's on 7.1 projected points. As a reminder, don't rush to make any transfers unless your free hit's active. Arsenal, Man City, Villa, Liverpool and West Ham all play midweek before Gameweek 34 kicks off. Looking at some cheaper defenders available, Munoz is 4.5 mil and he's projected 6.1 points. He does get forward at times in right wing back, and there's clean sheet potential in their 2 home games in 34. Mikalenko's on 5.7 points, my preference is Munoz between the 2. Aït-Nouri suffered a setback and he wasn't included in the Wolves squad on the weekend. They play on Saturday, so we'll get an update on him in Friday's press conference, if not before. Fingers crossed for everyone that picked up Aït-Nouri recently. Moving on to the midfielders, which is where it gets very tricky if you're on a free hit especially. Salah's top on 12.4 points, and then Saka with 11.6. These 2 seem like the staple picks, but beyond them, who do you go for? Havertz is on 9.1 points, Luis Diaz 8.9, Eze 8.8. I'll be doing a free hit video this week, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. Currently, I'd have a midfield of Salah, Saka, Luis Diaz, Eze and Havertz. The reason I like Havertz more than Odegaard is because Havertz is often playing up top. And when he doesn't, he still gets into very good positions. As we saw against Villa, he made lots of good runs in behind, and he had a few chances. He's got 10 returns in his last 8 games. Arsenal were noticeably leggy in the second half against Villa, who turned it on after looking 2nd best first half. Odegaard's dropped down the table as he's currently yellow flagged. He was actually exceptional that game, but he had to come off early. Arteta said he couldn't continue because he was feeling something, but he didn't elaborate any further. Eze's got 19 starts this season, 7 goals and 3 assists, and he's on penalties. Definitely joining my team this week and place the Sun. It's a 1 week play for me, with the wildcard coming immediately after to get Sun back in Gameweek 35. Elise was back in the starting 11 on the weekend for the first time since Gameweek 22. Another insane differential to consider, only 0.5% owned. It's easy to forget just how well he was doing before the injury. He had 6 goals and 3 assists in 8 starts. Sarabia just misses out making the table with 7.2 points, a solid option for only 4.8 mil if you need a cheap pick. Probably the safer pick over Hwang, who came off the bench last match after a spell on the sidelines. We saw Cunha get 2 cameos on his return from injury before he finally started, and it's possible the same happens again. I've seen Brereton Diaz pop up in a few free hits. He's on 6.8 points this week. Put up an 18 pointer against Fulham back in Gameweek 30, but he's got no returns in the 3 games since. They're home to Burnley though in their first double game week fixture before Man United away in the second. Captaincy is quite tricky this week as well. Salah's not looked his best recently. He's got 2 goals in his last 4, one of which was a penalty. Is he still the best captain this week? Is anyone looking at someone other than Salah? On to the forwards. Top this week is Solanke with 9.1 points. Back on the score sheet against Man United in their 2-2 draw, and a left field shout for captaincy. His goal on the weekend, a new record for the most goals in a Premier League season for Bournemouth, and he's still got 6 games to play. Europa League on Thursday could give us some insight on how Liverpool might line up on Sunday. Darwin is second on the table with 8.8 points, but does he start both games? You could ask the same question about Diaz, of course. Klopp brought them both off for Gakpo and Jota as a double substitution against Palace. Mateta's third on the forwards table with 7.5 points. He's looked really good the last couple of months, immense hold-up play and he helps link the attack in transition. He actually registered 1.24 expected goals against Liverpool, but he didn't manage to score. It was actually the biggest XG underperformance of the weekend. Jesus is 4th on the table, but he's a risky pick given there's a chance he's benched in one of the 2. And Cunha's projected 7 projected points. He's only 5.6 mil and he got a brace on his first start returning from injury last match. Though their first game of the double is Arsenal, which is going to be a tough game. If I was free hitting, I'd have Solanke and Mateta in a 3-5-2 with Cunha first sub on the bench. Haaland's the only single Gameweek player to make the table with 6.1 points. If you're not free hitting, you could actually keep him as a hedge against the free hitters, who are going to almost entirely sell him this week. Man City are away to Brighton next Thursday. So Chelsea and Man City are going to play in the FA Cup on Saturday first, so their Gameweek 34 fixture will be midweek, and the risk is that you go in a bit blind with no pre-deadline press conference. That wraps up today's video. If it was helpful, make sure you subscribe for more to come. There's a free hit video, team selection and the experts to follow later in the week. See you soon for the next one.